Welcome back to another Roblox Studio tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can send a message through the chat system whenever a player joins the game that says their name and then the message has joined. Alright, so let's go ahead and see how we can do this in Roblox Studio. Okay, so we're going to divide the script into two different parts. On the server side, we're going to be looking for players to enter the game. And then whenever it notices a player joins the game, we're going to send a message down to the client side to display a message in the chat. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the server side. And since we're going to be sending something from the server to the client, we need to use remote events. So the first thing we're going to do under replicated storage here is we're going to add a remote event. So you can just click on the plus sign and then click on remote event. Next, we're going to add a script under the server script service. So go ahead and click on the plus sign next to that and then add a script. The first thing we're going to do is create a variable for the replicated storage, and we're going to do that by saying local replicated storage. And this is just a variable name, so if you want to shorten that, feel free to. This is going to be equal to game :get service. Inside the parentheses, we're going to put replicated storage. Next, we're going to create a variable for the remote event. So we're going to do that by saying local remote event. And like I said before, feel free to shorten that if you want to. And this is going to be equal to replicated storage, since that's where it's located. And next, we're going to do : wait for child. And then inside the parentheses, we're going to put remote event. Next, we're going to create a function to run whenever the player joins the game. So we're going to say local function. The name of our function can be onPlayerJoin. Inside the parentheses, we're going to pass the parameter player. So this will be the player that joins the game. Inside the function, we need to trigger the remote event, and we can do that by saying remote event :fire client. And the first part is going to be the client that this gets sent to, so that'll be the player that joins the game. And then we're also going to pass an additional piece of information, which is the player's name. So we can do that by saying player.name. Finally, down here at the bottom, we just need to run this function whenever a player joins the game. So we're going to say game.players.playerAdded, and then we're going to connect this with our function, which is onPlayerJoin. So for the next part, we're going to create a local script under starter player scripts. We're going to start off this script exactly the same as the other one. So what we can do is just head back to the other one real quick and copy the first two lines. And then we can just paste them in this script right here. The next thing we're going to do is define a function that'll send a message through the chat system. And we're going to do that by saying local function. And we can call our function welcome. Inside the parentheses, we're going to put player name. And this parameter right here is going to come from our remote event. So player name will be the value that gets stored right here. So whenever the player joins the game, we're going to trigger that remote event and send to the client the player's name. And then on the client side, we'll take in that information and store it right here. Okay, so inside the function, we're going to start by saying game.starterGUI. And then we're going to do :setCore. Inside the parentheses, we're going to start by saying chat, and then make system. And then after system, it's going to be message. Then outside the quotation mark, we're going to put a comma, and then a curly bracket. With your mouse cursor still in the curly bracket, you're going to press enter. And then you can just go and press enter a few times because we're going to put some stuff in between these two curly brackets. The first thing we're going to put inside of it is we're going to say text is equal to. And this is the text that we're going to send through the chat system. And what we want to send is the player's name. And we're going to do that by saying player name. And then we're going to join this with the words has joined by doing ... And then the other message is a string, so we're going to put quotation marks. We'll do one space, and then we'll put the word has and then joined. After that, we're going to say font is equal to enum.font. And all enum.font means is there's a bunch of different fonts, so enum just allows us to pick one of them. And from the font list, we're just going to choose whichever one we want to do. The default is this one right here. But feel free to choose another one if you like a different one. And at the end of each line, we're going to put a semicolon. So let me add one here and go back to add one up top here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to say color. And we're actually going to define our color up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to say local text color is equal to brick color dot new. And then for this, I'm going to choose lime green. And then down here, we're going to set this equal to text color dot color. And finally, we're going to define the font size by saying font size is equal to enum dot font size. So just like before, there's a bunch of different font sizes, and enum allows us to pick one of them. And we're going to say dot and then size, and the default size is 24, so that's what I'm going to select. And I forgot again, so let's go ahead and add our semicolon here, and also at the end of this line. And finally, we want to run this function whenever the remote event gets triggered. So down here at the bottom, we're going to say remote event dot on client event colon connect, and then we're going to connect this with the name of our function, which is welcome. Alright, so let's go ahead and check it out and see if it works. And we can see over here in the chat, it says my username and then has joined. So before we end with this video, let's just go ahead and change some of these options so you can see what the effect is. So the first thing I'll do is choose a different color. So let's do really red. And then here we'll change the text a little bit, so we'll say welcome. And then we'll join that with the player's name. And then here we'll choose a different font. And then we'll choose a different size. Alright, so let's go ahead and check it out with the new changes. And here we can see that the color has changed. It's a different font style and it's a little bit bigger. And I noticed that the word welcome is right next to the username. So what you can do to fix that is just add a space right here. And if we run the game again, now we can see there's a space in between welcome and the player's name. Alright, so this is going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next one.